This is Heartrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terri Levine. Listen every week as Terri tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. And now here's Terri.
Hello and welcome to Heartrepreneur Radio and TV. I am your co-host, Thelma Gallant, and I'm excited to be here today. You can connect with Terri, me, and other like-minded heart-based business owners in the Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine Facebook group, so go check it out. And as always, we appreciate your likes. We love those 5-star reviews, and don't forget to subscribe. Today's quote: "The difference between mere management and leadership is communication," Winston Churchill. And today's show topic is leadership that overcomes. Our special guests this week are Octavian Pantis and Captain Emil Dobrovolschi. Oh, I hope I got that right.
Perfect. Good pronunciation.
I would love to introduce you to these two amazing gentlemen. They are authors of the new book, Dark Cockpit: How to Communicate, Lead, and Be in Control at All Times, like an airline captain. What does aviation have in common with leadership in business? Communication. Communication is crucial. Captain Emil Dobrovolschi is a 30-year pilot who flew with Terri Romanian Air Transport, and Octavian Pantis is the co-founder of Qualians, a best-selling author and speaker, and we're looking forward to having him on today's show. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Vilma, for having us. Hello to everybody.
Hello, guys. Welcome on board.
Awesome. So I definitely see the connection between an airline captain communicating, because there's what I see, and I'm just making this up, is that one, you're communicating with your team. So there's your co-pilot, there's all of the rest of the team. It's the team in the air, the team on the land when you're landing. You're communicating with your passengers, and it's a really important role because you need to keep your team working effectively. You want to keep your passengers content, comfortable, and happy. Those are some of the things that I see going on, and I see that relationship with both business and as an entrepreneur and business as a leader. Going forward, like that's how we manage our teams, that's how we manage our clients, and that kind of thing. I'd love to hear if I'm on target with respect to that.
Yes, you are, because this is the simple part, to communicate with the passengers, to communicate with your team. In aviation, we have a very procedural. The procedure is very important. The SOP, the standard operation procedures, are very important. So the easiest part is to start with a call for action, or call for a modification, or for a difference in parameters. But this is the easy part, to communicate with the passengers. I think these are our clients. So my project is a flight from A to B in a safely manner with my passengers. And being my guest, I think it's normal to communicate with them, to explain what is going on, what to expect, and things like this. But the hard part in communication is when you have to pass a message unequivocally to the other part. So we, the pilots, we are staying in a cockpit in a dark environment. We are looking forward. We don't see each other, to validate the message with our body language, with our micro gestures. So we are just looking forward. We have headsets on our ears, and there's a crisscross communication in it, So to pass a message in this situation, in difficult situations, in difficult times, it's a skill you develop. It's a skill we are trying to make our pilots to be experts in. And every time I'm telling to my pilots in the simulator, when I'm checking them in the briefing part of the session, I tell them that they are experts communicators. To pass a message without a doubt to the other person, and the message to land in a good land, to have a good reaction on that, or to communicate with your team to take the best out of them. This is a skill you develop in aviation, at least. And for us, communication, I know the communication is the one to blame when something goes wrong at the first stage. You go, okay, we didn't communicate well, we could communicate better next time, things like this. But in aviation, aviation history is written in blood. And all those mishaps or accidents, losses of billions of dollars and lives of crew members and passengers, they all started with a miscommunication, all of them.
So if I
Go
may
ahead.
quickly follow up on that, so the communication is really the key, and the quote you selected, Velma, at the beginning is fits right in. It's very good. So what does the entrepreneur? Maybe they're wondering, okay, so what can I do if I want to become a better communicator? It's something that it's on everyone's lip. Communicate with. What do I do? Several things. Number one, do not assume that what you see is what they see too. For instance, an entrepreneur might look at the figures all day long. I see that we have lost some customers, they're not paying on time, and I have a certain sense of urgency. I want to get things done. So I have a meeting with my people and I see that they're a little bit disengaged. It's very tempting to blame them. Why are you disengaged? But they do not have the information that I have. They did not just have the call with the customer who says, no, thank you, or with the supplier who says, pay me now, or whatever. So the first thing is, don't assume that something's wrong with them simply because they don't have the information. So if there's something you want to share with them. It's better to be a little redundant than to keep some communication element. That's the first point. Many entrepreneurs are very stressed. They look at the business, they know the figures, they know what everybody's doing, and they see that someone else, that the other people don't have that level of stress. Oh, they don't care. No. Maybe they don't see the signs. Show them the signs. Show them all the customer feedback, not just the other way. I got a thank you the other day. So sure, don't assume that they know. Make sure you know. In aviation, there's a communication for every single thing, and there's a lot of doubling of action. Sometimes we might be as passengers and we might hear the phrase cross-check and report, right? What does it mean? It means that one flight attendant has closed one door on the left, another one has closed the other door on the right, and then they check each other. Not because they're assuming that the other one does not care or that they're not good, but because the stakes are so high that it's fine for us to invest another 10, 15 seconds just to make sure we're all on the same page. So that's where it starts.
Okay, so I heard a lot of juicy stuff in there. One of them was that you have standard operating procedures, and I know that that's one of the things that Terri teaches, is to make sure that you have standard operating procedures in place. Yeah. I also heard that we want to become experts at communication to the point where these things are automatic for us. It's not, it's something that we get to do from a more unconscious or subconscious level where it's just automatic. The other thing that I heard was, I love that you said, don't assume they have all the information. It's better to have redundant information than skipping information. Yeah. And then the other thing that I heard that I thought was what it reminded me of is what I heard is you take your teams and you pull them alongside you and you look at the problem together. So you are looking at the problem as a team rather than the leader looking to your team to figure out what as they are the problem. And I really appreciated that as well.
Now, I have a perfect example for what you said. We are going, the professional pilots, to renew or revalidate their license. They have to go each 6 months for 2 sessions in the simulator. A session of 4 hours in the full flight simulator is for training, and 4 hours is to check the pilot's competencies.
Mhm.
in order to renew their license, in order to still operate online with passengers. So each of those 4 sessions a year, each pilot will go through the emergency evacuation scenario, and you are in this cockpit, and you accelerate towards rotation. The end of the runway will approach you. You are about 145, maybe 155 knots on a tarmac, on the asphalt, and then you had an engine fire, or you blow something, or you hit a car on the runway, and you have to stop. You stop the aircraft. Everybody's scared now. You see the flames in the simulator. You can simulate that. And in this situation, when all those lives depends on what the emergency drill are pilots making properly, following exactly the SOP, it's paramount importance in that moment.
Mhm.
Oh, now imagine in that critical moments, in those critical seconds, what is the captain doing? Nothing. The captain builds his decision or her decision, pulls the chair back in order to have a better overview. And all the emergency drill actions are made by the co-pilot, who is trained to do those actions. And he follows, or she follows, a list, a checklist, and he goes all the way down to those actions, while the captain just think, how many passengers do I have? Which is the side with the engine on fire? And what is the direction of the wind blowing? It blows over my fuselage. I have less seconds to evacuate. Where I'm at exactly stopped. Do I have emergency goods? How much fuel do I have with that wing on fire now? So all those things, the captain is pulling his baggage chair to have a better overview and to build a better decision. Everybody's busy. The flight attendants are busy. They are in silent review. They are looking for the exits. They are looking for a possible evacuation. Passengers are scared. And the busiest one is the co-pilot. And then, of course, the decision to evacuate and the last drill is made by the captain. And I will let Octavian tell you what what will do an entrepreneur when he's in an emergency situation.
Yeah, well, by
The contrast.
Yeah, by contrast, or in contrast, if you think about many crises that entrepreneurs face, in those moments, who's the busiest? The entrepreneur, right? They are the ones who make all the calls. They ask for the information. They tell people what to do, and for hours or for days, their stress level is maximum. They don't get enough sleep because they feel that it is their job to do all the things and to coordinate everything and to be the center of command. In aviation, this is not happening. By design, captain is provided with a little space. The co-pilot is busy, the flight attendants are busy, the firefighters are busy, the tower is busy emptying everything around the plane. But the captain, by design, is being given some space. And I think we should learn from that. Not giving into the temptation of doing 100 things in that crisis, because other people in our team could do them. Have to call the customer. Yeah, they can call the customer. They can call the supplier. They can call the whatever. Just make sure you have some space as an entrepreneur to reflect on what's the best course forward. By the way, this example was shared with us. I met Emil about 12 years ago on a flight. And then we invited him to speak to our company. And he shared with us this example, and he did in the kind of dialogue fashion. What does the captain do? And we said, extinguishes fire and does this. And they said, no, 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 no. And are you still there? Are you dead? No, I'm not. The captain does nothing. And it was a wow, because in business, captains like to be busy. They sometimes, some of them, they think, oh, it's not okay if I'm not busy and they are busy. So they have this culture of getting things moved along and juggling with 10 things at once. But what does aviation teach us after years and years and years of know-how and experiences? Don't make the captain too busy. Make the other ones busy who are able to get things done. So the captain, and the phrase that they're using in aviation is that it sounds a little funny, but that's what it means actually. Captains build their decision, meaning they take some time to take into account the information, the context, the everything, so they can arrive at the best conclusion for everybody involved.
If I may add just one small detail, because we talked about communication. It's easy when you said, yeah, let's communicate better, tell me everything. But as a leader, if you don't create this connection with your team, in order for them to know for sure that you're listening and that their opinions or their feedback are important to you. Because otherwise, as a leader, if you're a big man, a big leader, a big boss, nobody will dare to give you a feedback, especially when it's a crisis. So in aviation, we have this training for co-pilots, which are inferior in rank compared with the captain. Yeah, they are less experienced, but they are trained. Everybody's trained in my aircraft to do their job, so they are perfectly trained to do the emergency drill and to communicate all the deviation, everything to the captain, in order to captain to make a better decision out of all this chaos, which is an emergency evacuation or other situations like this.
Again, a lot of amazing stuff in there. I heard the continual learning is vital, because you were talking about on a regular basis, each of the pilots has to do some extra training. And I think that keeps them at that automatic level. And what I heard is the continual training for the entire team is important as well, so that they're confident in what they're doing. I'm hearing like a feedback loop, with the feedback going all directions, to the leader down to the team, and a level of confidence with each other. So the team has confidence in the leader has confidence in the team.
Yeah.
And I loved the discussion about building decisions, that the leader is there to oversee everything, to pull in the information and make the decisions from that information, and trusting that he's built the right team for himself, that they can take care of the actions, and he gets to take in all the data from those actions and make the decisions and lead the team.
Yeah.
And especially in aviation, when you have critical moments, and we are talking about seconds, not minutes. This will never happen in any other business, correct? But in aviation, we are trained to take those extra seconds because it might save lives. I will give you an example. We call them orchestra men. The less experienced pilots, they are trying to do everything by themselves to show off a little bit, okay? They are good, they are natural, they have good instincts, and they are very well trained. But they are doing everything by themselves. And of course, in the simulator, we recreate exactly the situation with an emergency situation or other let's say, special emergencies in order for the pilots to be trained in real life. So every time when I see an orchestra man, I'm worried, even though sometimes they do perfectly from A to B, from B to C, all the way down. They will do all the maneuvers perfectly. And then I'm most concerned about those people because they trust themselves so much. They don't care. They don't need the feedback. And eventually they will not become good leaders. And sometimes when I see somebody like this, in order to teach them, because it's a special paradigm of training in aviation, you try sometimes to force an error, because a good pilot, which is making an error or a mistake, will never repeat them again in the simulator or in the aircraft. And I see people trying to juggle all those buttons, all those maneuvers, all by themselves. I put just a little bit of extra weight, on their shoulders. And then you see them crack. And then they will see them ordering evacuation through an running engine. Okay? So we have to stop the simulators. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you not trusting your colleagues? They're trained to be there. There's no extra seats for people just sitting there in the aircraft. We are all in this metal tube with seats, and we have all jobs to do, and we know them perfectly because we are trained professionals.
Mm-hmm. There was some more juicy stuff in there, but I want to take this quick pause for a commercial break. And when we come back, I would totally appreciate it if you would share the best way for our listeners to be able to connect with you.
Hey there, it's Terri Levine. I just wanted to pop in for just a moment as you're listening here to Heartrepreneur Radio and watching Heartrepreneur TV. We have so many new and exciting things going on. So you can watch a free masterclass. Highly recommend to get a conveyor belt of qualified prospects. That's at TL, like Terri Levine, tlwebinar.com. Head over there, enjoy it, keep listening and sharing the show.
So welcome back to Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine. I'm your co-host, Belma Gallant, and we are here with Octavian and Captain Emil. So we have been talking a lot about leadership, and using the references of aviation to support educating our listeners with respect to ways that they can be leading. Now, we left off with a little bit of a discussion about, I guess you could say, overconfident leaders, that they end up taking on a lot of the actions to show how effective they are. And it's kind of like being a little bit braggadocious, like, look how great I am. This is how awesome I am at what I do. And they're forgetting to trust their colleagues. They're forgetting to trust their team, and opening themselves up to the possibility of critical mistakes, critical errors.
Yeah.
So, I almost forgot. I wanted to make sure that our listeners know how to connect with you. So we need to do that first.
Sure. So the easiest way to connect with us is to go to the website darkcockpitbook.com. There, everyone can download a chapter of the book for free, and there's more resources there. And if anybody wants to get the book, they can find it on Amazon and all the other big websites for books. In a way, it's a first of its kind, because it's the book takes the know-how from aviation and translates it into applicable advice that people who don't pilot a plane, but to pilot a team or their own careers or their own company can apply day in and day out. It's not just a collection of stories. It's not a movie about Emil's stories. Not that he would not like that, but maybe that would be next. But for the moment, it's a how-to book. It's not a dry listing of accidents and what you can learn and do that, but it has a number of things. And also, if anybody would like to reach us, they can leave us a message there or a question. Emil takes it personally to help people who don't like flying, who are afraid of flying, to help them overcome that. So if anybody who's watching us is in that situation or knows somebody in that situation, drop us a contact and we'll get back to you. You can also find us on LinkedIn with our names, Octavian Pantis and Emil. Yeah.
Perfect.
And to the message earlier, if I may just, we recently had a podcast specifically about training. It was dedicated to the people in large and small organizations focused on training. And I think it's worth mentioning just one message that we emphasize there is that in aviation, there are three words. Training is for everybody, regularly, and on a wide range of topics. Again, by contrast, in many companies, it's not for everybody. It's for the newcomers, or it's for the talent pools, or it's for the people who ask, can I do some executive something, and then they get it. It's not regular in many companies. You do it as a onboarding, welcome to our company, here's the procedure, or depending if we have some budget left, why don't we do some training? And it's not on a wide variety of topics. If you're working in sales, we'll give you sales training. If you're working in finance, we'll give you whatever the finance is. But in aviation, because we said earlier, the captain relies on their team to do what they need to do. That can only happen if everyone's trained. So many entrepreneurs might think, yeah, I cannot really rely too much on these people, so there's something wrong with them. Maybe yes, but maybe not. But for aviation to arrive at that level, they invest heavily in training for everybody, regularly, and on a wide variety of topics. And when that happens consistently, then you can easily say, okay, maybe it's not something bad, a crisis. Maybe you just want to have a 2-week vacation. Many entrepreneurs cannot have a 2-week vacation unless they have their phone with them all the time and check emails and everything, because the company needs me. Well, if the team is not ready, then yes. But if you invest in them and you give them the right training and you give them the right opportunities, then you can disappear for 1, 2, 3 weeks, because they will be able to take care of the business.
I like that a lot, because I know that's one of the things that Terri teaches is sit in the CEO seat.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing is you're inviting the CEOs, these entrepreneurs, to take the position of the pilot in their the main pilot in their business, not the co-pilot,
Yeah.
not the rest of the team, but as the pilot of their organization.
Yeah, and everybody, for instance, Captain Emil has been a pilot instructor for 18 years. So he's instructing hundreds of pilots. But even himself as a pilot, if he wants to maintain his license, twice a year, he takes on that chair and he's being given some tasks and he has to do them well. And um, we tend to think of pilots as these very confident people walking through airports, right? And people move to the side and everything. And that's fine. But on the other hand, if they know they have to do A and B and C to stay on top of the game, they do A and B and C. They do the checklists. They do the training. They do the preparation. They take the exam. They do the individual study because they know that they have to be on top of their game every single flight.
Well, and how effective would an organization be if they took on this level of commitment, right? A level of commitment as team members to be, I've got your back. We've all got each other's backs in all of this. We check each other's work. We don't get offended because someone is checking our work. It's that team effort. It's not, you're not good enough. It is, you're good enough. I'm good enough.
Yeah.
We've got that level of commitment to what it is that we're doing.
It would be a great feeling for many companies, and it would be a step jump up in performance. For instance, many people say, my CEO is too busy to learn. If they see their CEO, if they see the entrepreneur taking time to learn, and I'm sure everybody who's watching us is investing in their development because they're watching this podcast, right? So if they see you as an entrepreneur sharing a book, here's what I learned the other day, I was in a workshop with the other people, here's what I learned. If they see you do that, they will put their hands on books and learn too by the simple power of that example.
Yeah, I want to give you an example because I was thinking about something which is non-intuitive, my project, my flight, which it's a very repetitive one. Okay, every day I'm flying with the same type of aircraft. I'm flying, doing the same job as a captain, sometimes as an instructor in the seat. But it's a repetitive job. Okay, so every time we are in aviation, we said that we grow our co-pilots because as your team grows, you're a better leader. So we allow, it's non-intuitive, I know, but we allow the feedback on us. Why? Because I'm human. I can do mistakes. I start with this sentence. I can do mistakes all the time. I'm 10 times, maybe 5 times more experienced than my colleague, but I still can do mistakes in front of him or her. And I'm expecting them, they're trained to give me the feedback. I'm not thinking that if they tell me bank, I'm banking 7 degrees more than what I said I would bank. And they said bank, it's a standard code. I will never start fighting. Come on, it's not 7 degrees, it's 5 degrees. Who are you to criticize me, to give me this? Come on, I'm a captain here. I will never do that. I will immediately say the standard code correcting, and I will correct the deviation. It's a matter of speed, bank, whatever the parameters I said, I will keep. And this is giving me the opportunity to refine my flight. At the end of the day, it's my project with my name on it. It's Captain Dobrovolschi's flight. And everybody will applaud when the project is better. And it's better because I allow all the time this feedback from my younger, unexperienced co-pilot towards me. And I know every time I see this, because I know when you're inferior in rank, and it's a matter of education, it's a matter of the place you are in, the way you were grown up. It's a matter of lots of things. But when I see a person going all those barriers and giving me the feedback, a professional feedback, I'm always happy and I'm always embraced and I always show the same level of professionalism that was given to me. And at the end of the day, my project is better because I simply allow the feedback towards me.
That makes a lot of sense because I know, one, you're leading by example, right? So if you receive feedback, your team is going to receive feedback because they're learning from watching you. So I definitely see that as well. I think that even if the feedback is incorrect, it becomes a teaching moment as well, because that person, one, had the courage to say, I think this, and you returned with, I can see what you're thinking, however it's this. Then it becomes a teaching moment, and so they end up becoming an even better leadership themselves, because really you're ending up, especially when it comes to your co-pilot, you're training a new leader in those
Exactly.
moments.
Exactly. Train a new leader. And if you train them properly, they'll become a better leader. And uh, um, there will be no stripes falling down your shoulder if you do so. I'll give you a short example. I went to a flight and to Vienna, and the Vienna airport was closed to fog, so we had to divert. So we had two options, two airport alternates for us, and of course I knew what I have to do. But I asked my 20 years old co-pilot, a female. I said, "Look, what do you think we should do now?" Even though I had my mind already set what to do, and she had a better option than myself. So I said immediately, "Look, I thought we'll go that way, but your option is better. So we do your way." So we did her way. It was better. Yeah. There were no stripes falling down my shoulders. And I said, look, I appreciate the way you stood up for your opinion. We took it. It's better. When I came back to base, I said, look, I went to fly to this young lady and she had a better idea than mine. And we took her idea. And I know for sure that this is the way to grow up or train leaders, because someday she'll be a great captain doing the same thing for her co-pilots.
Exactly. Exactly. I absolutely love that. And it makes so much sense to me. And what I'm hearing too is the responsibility of a leader. There's a lot of different aspects to it. There's the teaching, there's the encouraging. We get to be a contribution to the people that we are leading. We get to support them with learning how to make sense of things and learning how to gather that information and be able to make decisions from it, because they see that that's what we're doing as well. It really is, like I said earlier, it's a feedback loop and a continual feedback loop between the leader and the team.
Yeah, you're 100% right, 100% right. So you see, um, if we're to summarize what we've been discussing so far,
Mhm.
being the leader is not necessarily about showing that you're the big captain on a white horse going ahead and being 5 miles taller than the rest of you, but it's about making sure that everyone grows together with you, everyone grows while working with you. And then when they go home, they feel better and they want to come back to work, whether that's physical or remote work. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we are at the end of our time. That went by so fast, and there was a lot of amazing information in there for our listeners. I know I gleaned a lot of really good notes out of this. So, before we go, though, I want to make sure that our listeners have the opportunity to connect with the both of you and be able to receive more from your information and your wisdom.
We look forward to hearing from anybody. By the way, dark cockpit, the title of the book is it's a good thing. Dark cockpit is when there's no alarm flights, no caution flights, no off, no on, everything runs smoothly. That's the name in aviation for dark cockpit. And we gave the book that title because we said, hey, that's what we want for our business, right? No alarm, no customers calling, we don't want to work with you, no people leaving in the middle of the day and things like that. And the book is about how you get to that level. And it's about using principles such as the ones that we've been discussing here. How can you communicate better? How can you lead better? The responsibility is with you at 100%. And also, how can you anticipate some of the things that can go wrong and how you can be better equipped to handle uncertainty day in and day out. So thanks very much for having us. All the best to everybody who's watching. And we look forward to hearing from you.
And I hope you read the book. I hope you'll be in your business, in your personal life, in dark cockpit all the time.
That sounds like a really good plan. Thank you both for spending your time with me and sharing all that you share with through your book and through any of the trainings that you guys do. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you, our listeners, for coming and spending your time with us. I hope you found some excellent value in this. We'd love to see your comments, like, subscribe, and we always love those 5-star reviews. And don't forget to head on over to Facebook and join us at Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine, where you'll be able to connect with more heart-based business owners like Terri and myself. Thanks, and have a great day.
You've been listening to Heartrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terri Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terri's latest blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog or follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terri on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.